Hi, Gemini. This is Lost Twin Tarot. My name is Colette. If you haven't viewed me before, this is a general reading for the week of March the 18th through the 24th. Um, just take the pieces that resonate and then leave the pieces that don't. Gemini, when I was meditating on your cards, I was getting a few different things. I was getting kind of like the feeling and almost like an image of a tug of war. I feel like you're kind of maybe like a little bit worn out or like, burnt out, overexhausted, and you're kind of feeling like you're almost like you're losing this battle, but you're not giving up. It's almost like some days you feel like you're losing a battle, whether this is at work or home or in family or whatever this might be or in love, and you just don't want to give up on it. I feel like it's kind of like you're in that Gemini energy where you're like, oh, I give up. I'm done. I quit or whatever it is. And but then, you kind of get out of your Gemini mood. Um, and then you kind of just keep going with it like you always do. It's kind of it takes a lot for a Gemini to really throw in the towel, I feel like. Um, it's got to almost be like complete torture for you to really give up on something. Um, and I feel like that's kind of what you're kind of like a mood you're in. I also feel like you have a connection. I kept seeing like hearing the Golden Girls theme song. So maybe you're a Golden Girls fan, or maybe you have a connection to Florida. I also feel like the summertime, you're waiting for spring, you're waiting for summer. I feel like winter time or cold time, it's like it's not really your seasons. Um, I feel like that's kind of like when you really this like the warmer months is when you really start getting you warmed up. I kept hearing that, like you're getting warmed up to something, you're getting warmed up to the idea. I feel like a lot of you really are trying to do self-care for yourself, and every time you do, it's like something comes up and then it's like you can't like do it. You can't practice your self-care because it's like something comes up and then you got to pull yourself out of it. Um I feel like some of you might be making a big purchase as well, like a luxury item or a car, or expensive purse or something. You have the Queen of Cups on the bottom. Let's see what we have in here for you. So you have the Seven of Wands, the Temperance card, the Ten of Wands, the Tower, the Strength card, and the Four of Pentacles. Okay. I'm going to put this deck over here because that way I don't knock it over. Right, on the bottom you have the King of Wands under the clarification deck. So with the Seven of Wands, you have the King of Swords. The Temperance card, you have the Page of Swords. The Ten of Wands, you have the Five of Swords. With the Tower, you have the Page of Pentacles. With the Strength card, you have Judgment. And with the Four of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Wands. So you have Seven of Wands on at the first and last card. Okay, so we'll do some additional clarifiers as we get into it. So we have the Seven of Wands and the King of Swords, to begin with. And, I feel like what this is saying, Gemini, is that, you're really trying to stand your ground in a situation. You could be dealing with somebody you could be in possibly maybe a legal situation, but I don't, you know, maybe, and you're, trying to defend yourself maybe in it, but I'm not really getting that for too many of you. Maybe you are. But I feel like what this could most likely be is that you're in a mode right now where you're really standing your ground, you're really trying to get your point across, to possibly, you could be dealing with maybe a Libra or somebody with Libra in their chart. And this could represent a boss, a higher up, maybe this is your partner, anything like that where I feel like you're really trying to stress getting your point across. And I feel like it's just like maybe you feel like it's not getting through. Um, and I feel like it's like you have that higher ground in that Seven of Wands card. You are in the right, but it's like you feel like nothing's getting done, and you just keep getting, like I was saying with that tug of war. It's like you just feel like you're fighting this losing battle, and I feel like almost like the King of Swords does agree with you, but it's almost like there's like something going on that's just not getting done. It's like something at work is happening and it's like, well, can't we do something about it? And it's just like nothing's getting done. It's just like a free for all or something in your family's happening and it's just that everything's like, going crazy. Or there could be maybe a neighborhood situation or whatever this may be, or a family situation. It's like people are agreeing with you. They see that you are right, but it's like nothing's getting done. With the Temperance card, you have the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords can represent, somebody who is, sometimes they call this like the spy card. You know, he has that eye on the back of his neck and that sword, and he's kind of looking in that sword. He's watching his back. I feel like you could be doing that about something. You're kind of watching all your bases around you. With the Temperance card, I feel like this is you just kind of really just watching out for yourself. You're kind of taking everything in at this time. Um, this is, patience. This is, taking the good with the bad. And I feel like that's really what you're doing. I feel like in a way you're, just having a watchful eye of maybe what can you do to make things better. Like I was saying, it's almost like you are, you're trying to practice self-care, you're trying to be patient, you're trying to, you know, you're throwing up your hands one day and then you're just like, that's it, I can't take it. But at the same time, you're just like, okay, well, how can, then you kind of go back to that, that peaceful, kind of Gemini way about you, but you're still kind of looking for signs and learning at the same time, like, well, what can I do to make this day not as stressful as the day before? Um, but I feel like, with the Ten of Wands, you do have a lot of burdens. You are carrying a lot of burdens, and you do need self care. And people around you need to see that, whether this is family, work, business, um, your partner, anybody in general. Um, and you have the Five of Swords. And like I said, that's like that losing battle energy. This is like that wants to win at all costs. And this doesn't have to even be people around you that even really they might not even realize that they're winning at all costs. It almost just feels like it can be an energy of like, mm, they they might not mean to be like this. Um, they might just feel like they want to get their point across. Um, you have your point, and they might not realize how much of a burden it is for you to carry. Maybe this is family, and they don't realize how much of a burden they're putting on you, and they think, well, Gemini's, she or he or she, they just got, they can handle it, they're so good at all those things, because Geminis are really good at multitasking and they can make it look almost effortlessly. Um, and I feel like in a way you take on all those burdens and sometimes you can do it so confidently, and it's almost like, well, sure, I can do it all. And you kind of have to pat yourself on the back sometimes, about it, almost in a really confident way to almost show to other people that you're like, well, yeah, I can do it all. But then at the same time, you realize, uh-oh, I kind of am burning myself out. And now I've gotten myself into kind of a mess because now everybody's like putting all these wands on me. You have the Tower next with the Page of Pentacles. Um, I feel like this is kind of when things might be to the point where you're like, okay, now you have that Ten of Wands where you need to lay down those burdens, and I feel like this could be to the point maybe that week. You have the Ten of Wands, you have the Tower, and then right after that you have Judgment, and the Strength card. And I feel like with the Tower, this could be the point where you're like, okay, something needs to kind of break down here. We need to kind of rebuild this. You could be approaching somebody at work, or you could be this could be you approaching somebody at work. You could be this Page of Pentacles person and, approaching somebody with a new, idea about something on how things could be, a better way of doing things. And they, like your idea, how we can rebuild something. Um, this could be either you approaching somebody or them approaching you in a situation, about, okay, well, how about we do something like this. The one good thing about the Page of Pentacles is that it is something that is a start of something. It's young energy, but it's a start of something that is long lasting, which is a good thing. And it's a positive card. Sometimes it can represent new love too, but I feel like in this situation, um, it's mostly about you kind of just breaking away from these burdens as well. Just take it how it resonates for you. With the strength card, you have the judgment card. Um, and I feel like, the reading is kind of going, the cards pretty much are just kind of talking to each other. Um, the strength card is saying that you've had so much strength, but now at the same time you realize, you are only so strong as you can be. And now you have to realize that there's this call, there's this pulling, and now you need to kind of realize that you've reached the point of, okay, I proved my point. I am very, very strong, but now it's time for somebody else to kind of be strong too. Or now I need to kind of, give some of this away to somebody else. I feel like it's kind of you saying goodbye to that, old way of doing things, and now it's time for a new way of doing things. The judgment card is all about, that very instinctual calling. It's a knowing, it's a, especially with that tower, it's like that intuition that, especially with a Gemini, it's that, it's not only intuitive, it's mostly like in our mind. I feel like it's almost like you're seeing signs. I feel like it's almost like it's more like up in our head. I feel like it's like we see things, we hear things almost. I feel like it's more like of a kind of like up in here as opposed to maybe a little bit differently. I feel like it's just kind of like that. I hope that makes sense. With the Four of Pentacles, you have the Seven of Wands. Um, and I feel like this is kind of, something that you could be holding on to. The Four of Pentacles can represent financial stability or just stability in general. It can represent, holding on to something. And the Seven of Wands, like I said, you're definitely standing by something. You're standing your ground. You're not, backing down from this. Um, the one good thing about that being on the end, I feel like, things are not changing, where you're sticking by this. You're starting to see stability. Things are changing after that judgment, that strength card. And, now you're starting to see stability and you're holding on to your what you're sticking by. You're holding on to it. You're not gonna keep taking on these burdens. It's like I meant what I said. I'm holding on to this. I'm this is what I mean. This is what I'm saying, and I'm not. Nothing's changing. Um, let's get some additional clarifiers to see what else we have for you, Gemini. What's the King of Swords and the Seven of Wands? I wanted to come out right away. You have the Hangman. Yeah, and I feel like that's exactly what's kind of happening right now. I feel like you've been doing a lot of sacrifices. I feel like you've been doing a lot of waiting. You've been patiently waiting, and I feel like it's almost like you just are kind of just hanging there and you're just waiting. But I feel like you're gaining clarity on something as well. And this is just kind of like you're just almost at the point of clarity. Um, and I feel like that's kind of what's about to happen. The hangman can also be kind of like a point of like a light bulb moment also. It's kind of like you've just been hanging around and you're not really sure how to go about it. But then a light bulb kind of goes off like, that's it. That's what we should do. That's why he has that, halo around his head there at the bottom. It's like he's like, oh, that's it. That's what we should do. I feel like you and possibly somebody else maybe collaborate and finally figure out what to do. Or maybe they kind of, you feed off of each other's ideas, or you finally come up with a working plan. You have the chariot on the bottom with the temperance and the page of swords. You have the seven of swords. Um, I feel like you could be just watching your back. I mean, this seven of swords doesn't have to be lying, cheating, stealing. Um, but I feel like, you just could be watching your back just for, everybody to be, just using, honesty. I feel like Gemini, you don't like any liars. You want to make sure everybody's being honest with you. Um, you want to make sure everybody is, um, doing their most diligent. They're being, tactful. And I just feel like you're just kind of watching your back in a way. Um, with the chariot, I feel like, you could be, moving away from any toxic environments as well if you're around any of that. With the Five of Swords and the Ten of Wands, you have the Justice card, you have the Strength card on the bottom. Yeah, with the Justice card, I feel like, that's all about balance, the Ten of Wands, the Five of Swords, and it's like you need to get things back into balance. It's like it's just too much, it's like I'm all the way over here on the one scale, you're all the way up there. It's like something needs to get back into balance here. And I definitely feel like that's what you're seeing. With that Seven of Swords, I feel like people could stretch the truth a little bit, like maybe just fib, not like seriously, to stretch the truth to maybe make things look not as bad as they are, to kind of make it look like if you're complaining about, these burdens or something. That's kind of another thing I'm picking up on. And you're kind of watching out to kind of see what they're doing, maybe. I feel like that's kind of what I'm picking up on. You have the Fool card with the Tower. Yeah, so I definitely feel like this is where, you could be kind of taking your this could be, taking the leap of faith, but also just trying something new. The Fool card is, a very, it's considered the most powerful card in the deck. It's starting all the way out at zero. So you could consider it's almost like knocking over a tower. It's completely gone, and then starting it all over at zero, nothing. So I feel like this is almost like a complete restart of something that you're trying to do. This could be a situation at work or a situation in the home. It's pretty much like, okay, this isn't working. We tried that. Now let's see what could work. Let's try to reframe this. This could be as something as, maybe your schedule's just, not working and it's causing a lot of burden on you or your family or just your life in general. Um, and now you're like, okay, well, this isn't working. Let's try this. Um, With the Judgment and the Strength card, you have the King of Cups. You have the Five of Pentacles on the bottom. Yeah, with the King of Cups, I feel like, this could be somebody if you're dealing with a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Um, I feel like this person could be, um, possibly if you felt like you left out the cold with that Five of Pentacles, this could be the person who maybe feels like you're maybe feeling left out in the cold by. Maybe you don't feel like you're getting enough help from them, possibly. Usually, um, usually the King of Cups is very nurturing, and very caring. This could be the person that you're like, hey, I need help with, some things. And they're standing up and kind of getting you out of that Five of Pentacles energy and kind of help pulling the weight and helping you out. Um, if you're not dealing with anybody like that, it could be somebody that you work with or something like that, or anything like that. If you're completely independent, I feel like this is kind of you getting out of that burden stage, and now you're kind of just like your emotions are kind of more subtle. The waves are kind of settling down. You're starting to see more of like a calm waters as opposed to, everything being more rocky. And lastly, what is the Four of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands for Gemini for the week? You have the Six of Cups and you have the Page of Wands on the bottom. Yeah, so Page of Wands is all about, getting a new passion back for things or just being more excited about things. The Six of Cups, that's saying, fortune after difficulty. It can also be about nostalgia or just, something that makes you feel like alive, makes you feel young, which is definitely fitting with that Page of Wands on the bottom. So I feel like this is saying, with that Seven of Wands and the Four of Pentacles, I feel like this is almost you kind of getting your spark back. You're dropping those burdens. You're starting to feel more energy. You're feeling less tired because the whole time I was meditating on your cards, I was saying you feel burnt down. You're feeling tired, you feel like you just don't have the energy, you're feeling like you're kind of in this tug of war. And I feel like, once you get maybe some help at work, maybe some help at home, or just like, maybe just prioritize things. This could be something, I'm not a doctor at all, but, maybe you could, if this is something like medical or something like that, or anything like that, I can't give any medical advice, so, but if it's something like that where, you know, you need to see, a doctor, a professional, or anything like that, or a health regime, whatever it may be, and you get yourself back on track. I feel like you're gonna start seeing, like you're feeling better. And like I said, you could be feeling better so you can go out and, feel better and, make a purchase for yourself that week. Do that self-care for yourself that way. Make yourself feel better. Make yourself feel like you're in that Six of Cups energy, where you feel good about yourself and make yourself feel, like the Gemini, fun, happy, good energy like you're supposed to feel. Um, because when Geminis get burnt out, that makes us kind of, I know, it just, when we get burnt out, that makes us depressed. We don't like feeling burnt out because we normally feel like we can do it all. And we don't like that. Um, but yeah, that's your reading, Gemini. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Until then, enjoy your week, and I hope to see you at the next reading. Thanks. Bye.